Picture this. You finally made the hire. You posted the job, you sorted through the resumes, you sat through the interviews, you made your choice, and you felt that rush of relief. Someone new is starting Monday. The team is going to grow. Things are finally going to move forward. And then 3 months later, you are sitting at your desk at 11 o'clock at night wondering what went wrong. The numbers are not adding up. The team is frustrated. You are doing work you thought you had already handed off. And that person you hired with such confidence is either gone or somehow still there, but doing more damage than if the seat had stayed empty. If that hits close to home, keep watching. Because what I am about to share with you is the kind of information that most business owners only figure out after years of painful and expensive trial and error. Now, before I go any further, I want you to know there is a program linked in the description below this video. It goes much deeper into everything we are going to talk about today. If you are already thinking you might not need it, or that it is probably not for you, I actually want to encourage you to hold on to that thought for a minute. The business owners who say that are usually the exact ones who need it most. Take a quick look when you are done watching. You can always decide it is not for you. But right now, let us get into this. Here is a number that should stop you cold. Studies consistently show that the cost of a bad hire can equal anywhere from 1 to 5 times that person's annual salary. Let that land. If you hired someone making $50,000 a year and it did not work out, you could have lost anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000. And that is not just a research statistic. That is rent. That is payroll for your other employees. That is growth that did not happen. That is the version of your business you imagined but never quite reached. And here is the part that makes it even harder. Most business owners never actually see that number. They do not write a check that says bad hire cost. The money just disappears. It bleeds out slowly through low productivity, through the time spent managing someone who should not have been hired, through the mistakes that get made and have to be cleaned up, through the good employees who get burned out carrying the extra weight and then quietly start looking for somewhere else to work. Let us talk about that last one for a second, because this is the part that almost never gets discussed. When you bring the wrong person onto your team, it does not just affect your bottom line directly. It affects your best people, the ones who showed up every day, who cared, who were building something with you. They start to feel unseen. They start to wonder why they are working so hard when the standards around them are slipping. And then one day they are gone too, and suddenly you are not just replacing one bad hire, you are rebuilding a team. This is what nobody warns you about. A single poor hiring decision can trigger a cascade that takes years to recover from. And if you have ever lived through that, you know exactly what I am describing. The exhaustion, the second guessing, the feeling that you are pushing the business forward with one hand and holding it back with the other. Now here's the thing. This is not about blame. This is not about saying you made a mistake because you are not smart enough or careful enough. The reason this happens to brilliant, hardworking, experienced business owners is that most of us were never taught how to hire. We were taught how to run our craft, how to manage our finances, how to market and sell and serve customers. But the actual process of finding, evaluating, and selecting the right human being for a specific role, that is something most of us just figured out as we went. And figuring it out on the job is incredibly expensive. Think about the last hire that did not work out. Where did it start to go wrong? Was it during the interview where the person said everything that sounded right but something felt slightly off and you pushed that feeling down? Was it in the first few weeks where small things started to add up but you told yourself to give it more time? Was it in the references you did not check as thoroughly as you should have because you were already 3 weeks behind and just needed someone to start? Every single one of those moments is a place where a better system, a clearer framework, a more deliberate process would have caught the problem before it cost you anything. And that is not hindsight. That is just a skill that can be learned, and once learned, it changes everything. Let us talk about what the other side looks like, because here is where it gets good. When you get a hire right, and I mean truly right, the return on that single decision can be extraordinary. A high-quality hire does not just fill a role. They multiply your capacity. They free up your time. They bring energy and ideas that push the business in directions you did not even anticipate. They make your other employees better just by being in the room. They handle things so well that you stop hearing about those things entirely, and that silence is the most valuable sound in a growing business. Imagine waking up and not having to mentally prepare yourself to deal with someone. Imagine your team actually running on its own momentum, solving problems before they reach you. Imagine looking at your profit margin at the end of a quarter and seeing it climb not because you worked harder, but because the right people were in the right places doing the right things. That is not a fantasy. That is what strategic hiring actually produces. And the business owners who have cracked that code are operating in a completely different reality than the ones still guessing their way through interviews. The data backs this up on the other side too. Organizations that have strong hiring processes in place report significantly higher revenue growth, dramatically lower turnover rates, and leadership teams that can actually focus on vision instead of constantly firefighting. The return on investing in how you hire is not marginal, it is transformational. And the businesses that figure this out are the ones that scale. They are the ones that get to step back. They are the ones that look like they have it all figured out from the outside. Now let me ask you something personal. How much time did you lose last year to a hiring problem? Not just the money, the time, the mental energy, the conversations you had to have, the decisions you had to make at 11 at night instead of being present for the things that actually matter to you. Because time is the one thing that never comes back. Every hour you spent managing the fallout of a bad hire was an hour you were not building, not growing, not resting, not living the life you started this business to create. That is the real cost. And it is invisible on a spreadsheet, but it is devastating in real life. Here is something that the most successful business leaders have figured out that most people miss entirely. Hiring is not a task, it is a strategy. It is one of the highest leverage decisions you will ever make in your business, and yet most of us treat it like an interruption, something to get through so we can get back to the real work, when in truth it is the real work. Getting the right people into the right seats is the single most powerful thing you can do for your profit margins, for your sanity, for your freedom. The business owners who understand this do not just post a job when they need one. They think carefully about what they actually need, not just what is urgent right now. They have a clear picture of what success looks like in that role before anyone even applies. They know what questions to ask, what answers to look for, what red flags to take seriously, what instincts to trust and what instincts to question. They move decisively without rushing. They are thorough without being slow. And they make choices that compound over time into teams that are genuinely extraordinary. And you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot of extra work on the front end. And here is the truth. It is some work. But compare that work to the alternative. Compare a careful, intentional process on the front end to 6 months of managing someone who was never right for the role, to the team friction, to the customer experience that slips, to the good employee who leaves, to the sleepless nights, to the profit that quietly disappeared. When you lay it out that way, it is not even a close comparison. The front-end investment is nothing compared to the back-end cost. Some of the most respected voices in business leadership, people who have built and scaled organizations across every industry, consistently point to hiring as the single most high-impact lever in a business. It is not marketing spend. It is not operational efficiency. It is people. Get the people right and almost everything else works. Get the people wrong and almost everything else fights you. If you have been watching this and nodding, if parts of this felt like I was describing your exact situation, that is not an accident. This is an incredibly common problem, and it is one that businesses everywhere are quietly suffering through, while assuming it is just the cost of doing business. It does not have to be. The program linked in the description below this video exists for exactly this reason. For the business owner who is tired of hoping the next hire works out. For the one who knows something needs to change but has not had the right framework to change it. If that is you, I want you to go look at it right now. Not tomorrow, right now. Because every day this problem continues is another day of cost you cannot get back. And the business owners who move on this are the ones who stop bleeding and start building. The ones who wait are the ones who will be having this exact same conversation with themselves a year from now. Go take a look. The link is right there below this video.